Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and that just happened. This is Touch Detective 2.5. Now I mentioned before how the third case of this game is kind of my least favourite. Well, this is the fourth case, and it is quite possibly my absolute favourite Touch Detective case of all time. I'm not entirely sure why, I just really like it. Honestly, this intro, which I'd completely forgotten about, that adds a lot, to be quite honest. Like, this intro is just every flavour of perfect, as we're about to see. So, Penelope, of course, there's no other way to start a case, is there? You scared her so hardcore she went into an animated cutscene. That's impressive. But also, who didn't see that coming from a mile away? Now, I am kind of distracted at the moment because in 1 hour and 45 minutes they're going to start the Kickstarter campaign for Ukulele, or, Project Ukulele, but the thing that the X-Rareware people are doing. Like, I'm going to be supporting the shit out of that because... hype. Anyway. Running joke happening right in front of our faces. Cromwell keeps doing his thing where he makes a weird noise and emerges and scares Penelope and her butt hair. Anyway, so we have a case, and it has something to do with amnesia according to the title. Okay then! Not what I was expecting, except I know what to expect because I've played this game before, but... everything was relatively harmless up to this point. I mean, admittedly, fraud and vandalism, semi-serious robbery, and even in the first 4 games, assault and snow fairy weirdness, which was a bit strange. But now we actually have proper murder. Like, both this and the 4th case of the first game, they both involve a murder. Apparently, although the first game it wasn't a murder, it was just abuse, which is still pretty bad. And this time we have an actual corpse, so... yes. We're going to have to check out a dead body. So this game went from 0 to 100 pancake real quick. Of course, Penelope can't remember shit about the corpse, but... now, let's just reality check for a moment. This is Penelope we're talking about. Are you sure it's a corpse? Well, she seems convinced, so we have no other option but to go and check it out for ourselves. And I was about to launch into Taylor Swift for some reason. I've just been doing that lately, apparently. But before we go, completely optional cutscene here. Have another chat with Cromwell, because... well, we could use his sage advice. Because, yes, there's a dead body and there's a murderer, but... important detail. Where is Chloe? Because she's usually up in our business ruining everything at this point. I beg your pardon? She's under the... she is as well. She's sleeping under the table. How long has she been there? Wait, so she's been sleeping under the table since Cromwell was emerging with the weird penis noise and going boo, except without going boo. Just one of the many reasons why I love this case. Anyway, once again, we have no choice but to go to the mansion, which is the penultimate location of this game. Kind of, you'll see what I mean. So, we have a haunted mansion. It seems to just be a tourist trap. It's nothing particularly special, because no mansion is this haunted and up in your face about it. Beginner booze. That's like beginner boobs. Anyway, I think that fence is on the touch list, but you have to find a specific part of it, and that bench is as well, and same deal again. But anyway, we need to head through the garden. That, again... suggestive in my mind, but that's because I'm too busy thinking about so many things at once. Too busy thinking about so many things at once because I cannot bloody enunciate. Anyway, having to go through a maze of some description because it's, I don't know, is it a hedge maze or is it just a really confusing garden? Again, in my mind that's suggestive, because of the word garden. Anyway. Oh really? Well, we know what your instincts are like, Little Miss Butt Hair. Oh, that's a beautiful entryway to the garden. God fucking damn it. Anyway, I think that tree on the left may also be touch list, but I don't know, I didn't check. Because I know that is, and I think... I thought part of the floor was, but actually it's the floor in the next area, which we will then obtain for the touch list when we reach that area. Anyway, so we'll look through this slightly discoloured window, but we can't see anything in there, so we'll look through the other windows, and we can't really see from this distance. And I derped and for some reason thought I could check that tank down there or whatever it is, and it just generates the same chain of dialogue. So let's go in and see with our own 2 eye holes. Eye holes. Well, Penelope, how could you assume it's a corpse if you haven't actually seen it in the flesh? Pun slightly intended. Well, let's just head in The floor kind of looks like, that fiery area in the endgame of Anodyne. Anyway, so here's the corpse. Penelope's kind of shit scared because it's a corpse. Well, he does look pale enough to be a corpse, so there's that. But, mysterious. Anyway, you see there's a hole in the floor there. That's the touchless item I was thinking of before. So there we go. There's not really much we can do here because we've got a window, we've got a corpse, and we don't really know what to do with our lives because... well, there we go. Chloe joining the party. But is it a corpse? We aren't sure at this point because... but we're going on Penelope's word, and we know what Penelope and her butt hair is like, so... Chloe and your chocolate spread-ass hair. What do you think? Probably just sleeping. Well, does it look like it's breathing? That's a point. At what point do you stop using gendered pronouns to refer to a corpse? It depends on if you're referring to the corpse as an entity or as a person. Anyway, we want to add it to the touch list. Totally doesn't sound suggestive at all. But Penelope won't let us because... I don't know. It's morally weird, and speaking of weird, sick burn against Chloe just then. I'm just gonna do it again. Chocolate spread-ass hair. Anyway, there was something I was going to say a few seconds ago, and it's completely abandoned my brain. Anyway, to advance this case, we're going to need to investigate the inside of the haunted mansion, but before we do that, we need to go around town and pick up a few supplies. You know, supplies!
Supplies!
First of which being this pin. Because Americans can't spell pin. They couldn't spell a 3-letter word to such a degree that they invented a completely new 4-letter word to convey the same meaning. Hey. Anyway, Luxembourgish toothpaste guy is guarding the statue but doesn't give a shit about the poster. That's all we needed from there. Now we'll head to the shopping plaza. And that looks like pizza nachos. Nachos. But it's actually chocolate. Belgian chocolate, made with 100% real Belgians. And, well, first of all, we'll talk to Antoinette. Because I wanted to confront her about this dodgy chocolate, but no, she's just like, the haunted mansion's a place. But yes, 87% sludge. Are you sure? Because it sounds like you mean fudge. Oh, I thought it was the other 13%. Like, that's worrisome. Dear oh dear. Anyway, Dover my pancake, it's been a while since we last spoke. I like your face. And he just sounds like one of the grumpy animals from Animal Crossing. Speaking of which, yesterday was the 30th of April, and that was the day of Angus's birthday in Animal Crossing. That was fun. I gave him a bonsai tree and he loved it. Anyway, now, this is one of those rare occasions where I'll show off what happens if you fail. Because you can fail at this point, but I mean, when you do fail, it's insignificant. You can just try again with no consequences. It's just it just delays you completing doesn't say the quest, the case, by a little bit. Now, hello to you, little Miss Blue. You're very blue. Are you sure? Are you sure that you're not just Sapphire from Steven Universe? Well, then again, Sapphire looks a bit different from that, but you're very blue. Colleen, I will call you Eiffel. Because you are an Eiffel and you are blue, daboo-dee-daboo-die. Because, Lord knows, no one can make that reference whenever they see the colour blue anymore. Anyway, we'll head into this bit. And the thing with this bit is, once you get out, she'll ask you if it was scary. And if you say yes, then that's an instant failure. Because you need to convince them that, like, her and the management, that it's not scary. And if you say you were scared, then that defeats the purpose. But if you say no at this point, then they won't believe you. For one very crucial reason. It's very chilly and drafty in this mansion. And so we can't not shake, and so they misinterpret that as fear. Well, we should do something about that, don't you think? But there's one thing that I was going to do first. I was trying to check that notice board, but it says nothing, so let's just shake hands with this suit of armour. And she totally didn't notice that we just took its hand. Anyway, let's fix the draft problem in here once and for all. This puzzle took me ages to work out as a child, because I had the pin. I knew that was a thing, but I didn't put two and two together. But we've pinned the poster down, we've excluded the draft, and we'll talk to her, see what else she has to say, but we'll go through the ghost tour a second time, and tell them that no, we're not scared, and they'll believe us this time, but She has a bad sense of... Now, that sounds like a line of throwaway dialogue, that she's got a bad sense of direction, but that is a Chekhov's gun if ever I've seen one. Like, that becomes so super important later, but you'll find out. Like, that's worth pointing out, because it didn't occur to me until I played through to record this, that's actually a really important line. Anyway, have the same experience going through the second time, but this time they'll believe us when they say we weren't scared. Let's give them a scathing critique of how cheesy their mansion actually is. A mansion made of cheese, wouldn't it? It's kind of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where they have the chocolate palace and it melts. I remember that from the film, well, the second film. Anyway, is that okay? Sofa so good? Okay, so this was under the sofa, and we've discovered a fish. Oh, I'm sorry, a wind-up screw. Like, why is it? It was hyphenated in her dialogue, but not in the item description. Anyway, the sofa was just floating. Okay, no further comment. But she has a lot of clocks, and I can sympathise with this. I am very much into clocks. I've mentioned before, my first word as a child was clock. And I also had a thing with car park barriers as a child, because barriers are cool. I don't care what you have to say. Barriers and clocks are just yes. Anyway, we'll take a clock, seemingly arbitrary, but this is the right option, because you need a clock, but this is the only one that fits the bill. Now, one last thing that we should do on the way back is stop by the forest, and we'll head up to Tranquility Hill, or whatever it's called. Oh, hang on. Mayor Tom, what are you doing here, your turkey-ass face? Turkey-ass motherfucker. Hello? Oh, should I just leave a voicemail, or should I just talk to you while you're standing there? Okay, apparently you are here after all. So, we have a bear thermometer, or a barometer, even though it's not a barometer, it's a thermometer. I am awful. Anyway, we'll head back to the office and let Cromwell know what we've discovered so far. That we suspect that the individual that we found the corpse isn't a corpse, it's just someone sleeping. He should be able to create an invention to help wake him up, I suppose, and we actually do have the equipment necessary for him to construct something to wake him up, but we will give them to him in the next episode. So I have been and will continue to be Tessellating Hexagons, and in the next episode, we will create something to wake up the corpse. We will literally wake the dead. See you when that happens.